Hey, what's up everybody? You're watching Ready Set Drone, and today we have the Avata 2, and so far we have limited our flights to using the Motion Controller 3, or the Motion 3, which is this right here, and been very pleasantly surprised by what you can do with this. However, today we want to see if we can do some Acro, so we're going to try and bind it with the FPV RC3. It's basically the two-stick version that allows you to fly like a normal FPV pilot. We're going to see how hard it is to bind to the Avata 2, and then take it out and try to fly with it, and see also if we need to release this stick. So when you're flying FPV, you don't want this throttle stick and yaw stick to automatically center in the throttle up and down position, and there is a way to release it, we think, if it's the same as the old one. So first thing we're going to do though is see if we can bind it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this on, and it's the usual double tap. Now it's on. And I guess we'll turn on the drone itself and make sure it doesn't have a gimbal guard on. And then go ahead and turn on the goggles just for fun so that everything is talking to each other. All right, so now what I want to do is go ahead and put the goggles on and see what I see in here. Okay, so we have got the goggles on. We have got the drone on. It says remote controller not connected, which makes sense because that's not on. So the way you do this is you just hold down the power button on the drone for a couple of seconds until it starts doing that. And then you hold down the power button on the controller for a couple of seconds. And hopefully they see each other and say, "Friend, it's been so long." Let me see what the goggles are telling me, if anything. Connection failed. Try to link goggles to aircraft or go to menu and switch aircraft models. Hold down the button until this one beeps. Everything's beeping. All right, and now we have connected both. So now we are connected. When I turn the wheel, you can see the gimbal going up and down. So now that we've got it bound with the controller, there are two things you want to do to make sure that you can actually fly an Acro. Actually, there's three, the third one being loosen this throttle stick. But the two that are in the menu is you go down to settings and you go to control. And then on remote controller, you want to go ahead and turn off, under gain and expo, you want to turn the M mode attitude limit off. Just going to go ahead and turn it off, disable it. And if you want to change any of your rates, you can do that here. We're going to leave it in just its standard preset rates for now. And then we will go back over to button customization, and we will go down to the custom mode. And here we'll go up to manual mode and select that and confirm. So we are in manual mode now under custom mode. So that should allow us to actually go here. There we go. You see that little M in the lower left corner, right? Where is it? Right. Oh, I'm getting there. Right there. There's that M. That is manual mode. Sport mode, normal mode. We've mostly been flying in normal mode on this thing with the motion controller, but today we're gonna do manual. Ha ha ha. Okay, so what we want to do now is make the throttle stick loose so that it doesn't flip back with that spring like it does. This is in mode 2. Mode 2 is where your throttle and yaw are on the left stick and your pitch and roll are on the right stick. If you're in a different mode and you're flying with your throttle over here, you'll want to do this to the other stick. But for us, it's going to be this one. So we're going to flip it over. We're going to take this little thing. There's been some debate about what this is called. I was calling it a splunge, but it's basically just a piece of plastic that you can pry underneath to get this open without tearing it all up. And then there are two screws that you want to, I believe, tighten to make this stick looser. So there's only two that are labeled, F1 and F2, and I think those are the ones you want to tighten in order to loosen the stick. And what you're going to do is you're going to get the 1.5 millimeter hex driver. Okay, now it is floppy. If you turn F1, tighten it, it gives it more friction so that it doesn't just flop around. It's kind of a trial and error thing. Okay, now See, now it's going up and down. You still have your sprunginess for the yaw, which you want, but you don't want it for the throttle because you want to be able to have it all the way down when you take off. Now this is actually pretty good. It's a little tight, so I think I'm going to go back and loosen F1 a little bit so it's not quite so tight. That feels pretty good to me. So now we have the spring in 3 directions, but we don't have the spring in the throttle direction, which is what you want. So once you get it there, you just take this rubber piece and kind of like line up all the little tabs and push it back on and tighten it back down. And now your stick is ready to rock. All right, now I'm gonna put it into manual, and this will be my first takeoff in manual mode. Here we go. All right. And I'm following Chris. Okay, I'm starting to get a little bit of a groove. It's funny, after flying with the motion controller for a few days, I'm now having to get used to this. All right, Chris, go faster, past me, thank you. It is very windy, by the way, just for the record. I'm definitely getting pushed by that wind. There we go. I think when he rides a little faster, it's actually a little easier. Yeah, I mean, it definitely is responsive and is a lot better from a power to weight ratio than the original Avata. I mean, it feels like you can recover from a dive a lot better with this one. Let's see if it'll do okay between me and the building. Oh, he's going across the grass. Chris, getting nutty. Nuttier than squirrel poop. The roll rate's a little slow for a flip. We could turn that up. So you just go down to settings, and you go to control, and you go to remote control, and you go to gain and expo, and you go down to roll, and I'm gonna say, instead of 450, I'm gonna push that up to 500, maybe even 550. And I think what that is it is degrees. So 360 is 1 roll in a second. So this would be a little less than 2 rolls in a second. I like the rates a little faster, and I think I'll change the pitch rate to 500, and I think I will change the yaw to 400. So I'm just turning everything up a little bit from its default settings. I turned up everything by probably 25%. So now that I've changed those rates, let's see how it feels when I fly. So here we go. Yeah, I like this better already. It just feels, before it felt just a little bit sluggish in doing things that I wanted it to do. Now it feels like the yaw right there, it's yawing a little more quickly. That wind is blowing me. All right, now let's just try a little. Yeah, that was better. Let me try the pitch. Okay, feels better. So, you know, it's all a personal preference. The nice thing is if your rates are a little higher, you can always not push the stick quite as hard and go a little slower, but you can't go any faster, right? You can only go as fast as your rates will allow you to go. But yeah, the one thing too, on the original Avata, when you would start to descend like that, like when you did a roll, as it was coming down, you had to almost give it full gas to get back up in the air, to catch it. With this one, you have a lot more power to recover from that, but it is very, very windy, so it's a little bit treacherous as far as trying to do all these tricks. All right, let me see if I can land it on the pad this time without. It says replace or check props. It didn't like that rough landing. Here we go. It is rather windy today, so just we're going to take that into account as we try some of these gaps and such. If I was flying this and I didn't know what it was, I wouldn't guess it was an Avata because it's flying really a lot smoother, a lot more nimble, a lot more responsive than the original Avata. And again, it's got what seems to be more power and certainly less weight. Yeah, I mean, it just is going with me. Everywhere I'm taking it so far, it seems to be happy to be there. But like that on the original Avata would have been a chore. Like it would have kind of fallen and I would have had to like give it full gas to get it back up in the air. Whereas this guy, if I take it up and cut the throttle, turn it upside down, bring it nose down, and then give it some gas, it recovers nicely. And Chris and I were talking about the whole concept of freestyle and what that actually means. Uh-oh. And bounced it. So Chris and I were talking before I crashed, and what we were saying was, well, freestyle is flips and rolls and dives and all that sort of thing. It's also just being able to get this kind of control with the drone that you wouldn't have, I think, with the motion controller. The motion controller is a great way to learn, and you can become decent at flying through gaps and controlling it with the motion controller, but it's a little bit limiting in what you can actually do with the drone and how you can actually control it and get it to do exactly what you want it to do, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm flying kind of fast. I'm just going around things, but it's going right where I want it to go because I can control the pitch, roll, yaw, and throttle all independently without having to roll my wrist or anything like that to make it work. Flying through these tiny gaps is a little bit harder in acro mode using the RC instead of the motion controller in normal mode. Normal mode with the motion controller makes these gaps a little bit easier. There we go.
Also, it's kind of windy. So.
It is kind of windy, but you know, how many excuses can I come up with for my subpar flying? Lots and lots. But I will say, as a FPV quad, it is fun. It feels like somewhere between a 4S and a 6S. It feels like not quite the power of a 6S, you know, the punch out. Oh, definitely not the punch out of a 6S, but a little bit more than a 4S, and definitely more than the old Avata. I guess if that's your benchmark, the old Avata, then this one is definitely hands down a million times better. Ooh, that bench. I was thinking this bench right here.
Yeah.
Confidence meter is going up.
Oh, yeah.
That's when you always have your worst crash, when you get cocky. Okay, it's still a windy day, but it's nice because we're in this park with these soccer goals that have no nets, and we're gonna try and power loop through the goal without a net and see what happens. So again, kind of factoring in for the wind. Oh, that was okay. That was high. But it was, yeah, it was high and not far back enough, right? Okay. Whoa, yep, I wasn't far back enough again. I wonder if the wind is pushing me, if I would be better off to go the other direction. Let's give it a try, this direction. Okay, getting better. I think the wind is pushing that way, so.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely pushing that way and over to the side a little bit.
This isn't the best day to do.
Yeah, it's a tough day to do a power loop, but I think we can pull one off. Okay, actually, let me do one thing too. I'm gonna roll the camera angle up a little bit. I'm feeling like I can't go as fast as I want to because the camera was tilted down too far. All right, here we go. Okay. Getting there, just need to go back a little more. All right, here we go. Whoa. Sorta. Oh. Dang. We have certainly done our share of crashing with this thing so far today. Hey, that was looking better. A little too far back. Well, that was sort of it. All right, that was 4 tries, one more. Yes, that felt pretty good. Okay. All right, I got a couple of decent ones in, not the prettiest in the world, but not too bad. Now Chris is gonna give it a shot. We got like 51% on the battery, does that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay. Come back a little further and flip over slower. Like that's what I found was the key, was to do that flip over nice and slow. Keep going, and go. Okay, now. Nice, dang. Nice one. If you had flipped slower, you would have made that. Good, 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 good. You flipped too soon. Chris, yeah, keep going. I'll warn you if it's getting bad. Okay. Good, 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 good. And yeah, pull out, nice. Well done. Let's even do it a little tighter, like a little more angle and not as high. Go, 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 and slow, slow, slow. Nicely done, yes. Wow. Wow, Chris, dang. So now that we've released the first video with the DJI Avata 2, the gloves came off. We decided to really push it and fly it a little harder today. And while it's not really a freestyle quad, it's first and foremost a cine whoop, it does decent at freestyling. As a matter of fact, if you had never flown a freestyle quad before and this was your first experience, you would say, wow, it's fantastic, it's really great. If you had only flown the Avata 1 in Acro mode and you flew this, you would think, wow, it's a big improvement over the Avata 1. Compared to a 5-inch 6S freestyle quad, it's not the same, but it's decent. It has a lot more power to weight ratio than the original Avata, and it can do power loops, it can hit small gaps, it can recover quickly when you do rolls. It's really a ton of fun to fly in Acro mode. I think the primary purpose of the Avata 2 is still going to be cinematic FPV flying through things smoothly, small gaps and indoors and stuff like that. But to know that you can take it out and just have some fun with it, I would say it sits somewhere between a 4S and a 6S quad in terms of the way it handles and the way it flies as an FPV Acro flyer. So if you're going to get an Avata 2, it generally comes with the motion controller, and you have to buy this controller, which is the FPV Controller 3, separately. I think it's worth it. It's a different style of flying. The motion controller, I have to say, is a lot of fun, a lot more fun than I thought it would be, but flying with this thing and being able to control every aspect of the direction, the pitch, the roll, the throttle, the yaw independently is really nice too, but it's a more advanced thing. But you can know that with the Avata 2, you can go from flying with the motion controller to flying with the regular controller and getting pretty darn good at flying FPV in the traditional way, which could mean you could go on to flying real freestyle, 6S quads, etc. So in terms of whether it's a good FPV acro flyer, I say yes it is. Is it a great one? It's not on par with the big 6S, but it's pretty close and it's a ton of fun. And if you're not pushing it too hard, you're gonna have a great time with it. Let us know what you think about the Avata 2 and flying FPV with it, flying acro with it, and doing things like power loops and all the stunts we've been doing today. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Ready, Set, Drone. Take care. Yeah, I just had this premonition that I was gonna whiff something like that. All right, I gotta get through that one time, Chris, without a incident, just so I can have a confidence meter. Okay, let me just get something decent. All right, that was good. Somebody with a tiny head must have been wearing these. Boy, they are just tight. Wonder who has a tiny head around here. Chris is gonna ride a bike around the parking lot, and I'm gonna try to chase him. Apparently he's still a little ticked off for me hitting him last time. So we're gonna, at the park. So I'm gonna try not to hit him this time, but I can't make any promises. Last time, that was my mistake. I overcommitted to not hitting him. Could you go stand out there? I won't hit you.
Seriously, what were you trying to do?
I was trying to hit you. So one thing I really don't like about the DJI controllers is when you drop one of them in the grass, which I just did. So Chris is now gonna film me for the next 30 minutes on my hands and knees. Maybe I need to go get a magnet. There it is.
Oh, nice. Saved you how many minutes? 30 minutes of searching?
29 minutes. Only took 1 minute to find. Ooh.